Well, good evening, church. I have with me this evening Shannon Ellison, who is a therapist here in our city, specializing in working with children and teens and families. And we're so happy to have her tonight as our special guest. Our topic tonight is parenting during COVID-19. And we want to especially recognize the concerns and the different reality that COVID-19 uh, produces for single parents. I saw a, a segment on the Today Show a few days ago that began to explore all of the ways that single parents have incurred the bulk of the work as it relates to rearing children during COVID-19. Of course, we know that school is now at home, so you have to go from being the teacher to the lunchroom cook to the PE teacher, and then you still got to be mom and dad on the back end. And so we want to explore that. And really tonight, hopefully, we'll come away with some practical tips for parents in particular and single parents specifically who never get a break from their children. So good evening, Ms. Ellison. Thank you for being on with us. So talk to us
Good
about,
evening.
parenting during COVID.
Absolutely. Parenting and single parenting in itself is a challenge. When you add COVID, it's an extra challenge, but it can be done. I think the number one thing to consider is to have a schedule and to have structure. If you don't plan the day will kind of plan itself for you. So you can kind of attack the day by having a plan and having a structure. It doesn't have to, be exactly like school or exactly like it would be in summer camp. Doesn't have to be hour by hour. I'm definitely not an hour by hour planner,
Mm.
but it should consist of knowing what they're going to do when they wake up. We're going to have some work time, some free time, some play time, some activity time, some time that you guys can interact and play together. When you notice that you kind of schedule that time with your kids, you may find that they won't come in so much requesting your time.
Wow.
For some kids, now some kids, it depends on how old they are. But for the older ones, you can say, it's special, you and I time at 1:00. That's our special time. I look forward to that. You choose what we're going to do during that time, and that's all you. So they may be more likely to do the structured stuff kind of on their own or near you while you can get something done and then look forward to that time together. So structuring time is and planning is probably a really big thing to do at first.
So you plan the day from waking up all the way to going to sleep. Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And this goes against, I am a type B personality and I am not a planner. And so it goes against my natural tendencies to want to do that. But I've personally tried it and I've heard other parents say it just runs smoother. Now, you don't have to be a stickler about every single minute, but you want to start kind of having a structure so that the child knows what to expect. Then you'll find that you won't hear, I'm bored or what are we going to do next? Because they'll know what to expect.
I see. Great. So how should parents think about accomplishing self-care time? So children are home all day, all night. How can parents, generally driving into work, that's a moment where you can kind of breathe, listen to music, talk to people, catch up with friends or family. Or there's, some parents have date night, so Friday night or Thursday night or Saturday night, they call in a babysitter and they go out on the town. Well, all of that's kind of out right now. And so, what are ways that parents can accomplish self-care?
Yes, self-care is very important, and it's whatever it looks like for you. Um, just remember that self-care looks different for everyone. So you have to first discover what's best for you as far as self-care. So once you've done that, um, it kind of depends on the age of the child. With older kids, like I said, if you schedule activities or have them something to do, then during that time you can do some self-care. With the younger kids, in my experience, you kind of have to wait for them to take a nap or go to sleep for the night
Mhm.
and schedule your self-care then, and just be realistic and just know that's the time for myself. Time is very important. You want to give your kids time, but you want to give yourself time. If you don't give yourself time, you won't have anything to give out. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that before. So it may be after they go to bed or during a nap, but you want to make that a priority. And you want to discover what kind of replenishes you and rejuvenates you.
Yeah. Wow. So so waiting till the kids go to sleep and kind of just what would you recommend as it relates to um, finding what it is that rejuvenates you in the context of COVID?
Well, COVID makes it a little more difficult. For instance, one of mine was shopping. And so I can't go out and do that. Well, actually, I think they may open soon, but I don't
Yeah,
feel
I
like I
think it's
want to go
open
out and do
today.
that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let other people try that right now. But so you may have to skew it a little bit. So, for example, if you can't go out and do things, you'll have to find something online. There's a lot of things that you can find online to do. You can't go out to the gym. You can look online for exercise things or activities, things to do. I can go online shopping,
Mm.
things like that. There's a lot of breathing, meditation, kind of centering apps, things like that. It kind of depends on your what you prefer, what you like to do. But unfortunately, online and virtually is really big right now. And a lot of people will find just vegging out in front of the TV or watching a movie is self-care.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Um, and just being okay. Um, there's no right or wrong way to take care of yourself.
So I've read that children are processing grief and loss during this period in a different way, in a way that may be um, indiscernible to many parents. We might interpret it as them being disobedient or being lazy. They don't want to finish their schoolwork, or but really they've had it up to their ears with being in the house all the time and not being able to go to school and see their friends, not being able to participate in dance or extracurricular activities, whatever it may be. Talk to us about identifying those traces of stress in our children or those traces of grief that are brought about by COVID, and what are some strategies where we can kind of guide children through those um, those issues?
Absolutely. So, with stress with kids, it comes out differently than you and I. A lot of times it comes off as, oh, they have an attitude or they're just not listening to me today. Um, like you said, or as behavior issues, they're acting up today. I don't know what's going on for a lot of kids. For some kids, they may be extra quiet, kind of there, but not there, kind of tuned out. And so the first thing you want to do is notice kind of how they're acting. With kids, it's about behaviors. A lot of them don't come up and say, hey, I'm feeling sad today. Hey, I'm feeling mad right now. You have to be able to discern that from their behaviors. So as a parent, you really want to pick up what's normal behavior for them so that when it starts to look a little different, you can know. So after you've picked up on the behaviors, you want to address the feelings and the thoughts behind the behavior. Because everyone wants the behavior to change. Most parents, right? We want that, I don't know what's going on, but you need to change that attitude right now. So we want that, but that's not very helpful. You want to go beyond the behavior into the thoughts and the feelings. So instead of approaching it that way, you want to try to say, hey, I noticed you seemed a little grumpy today. What's going on? What are you thinking? How are you feeling? Then you want to acknowledge that, it's okay to be sad right now. It's okay to be mad right now that you've missed your dance class. They need that acknowledgement too, and allow them the opportunity to talk about it and talk through it on a kid-friendly level.
Cool. So it's basically ensuring that you communicate with your child and that you watch for behaviors that might be coming, that they might be demonstrating as a consequence of their stress. Are you seeing a lot of children really stressed out and really suffering during COVID-19?
With my clients right now, a lot of them are happy about having school at home
Yeah.
right now. So that was kind of their focus. I'm not seeing a lot of stress about the COVID-19, so I'm not sure if the parents are explaining it to them at that level. They know that it's something to be aware of, but they don't seem extremely stressed about it. I think it's more how it affects them and their schooling and, wanting to go out and do things. But as far as fear of the actual virus or death or dying, it hasn't been a lot.
Okay. We have in our congregation, we have some individuals who have lost loved ones, during this period. Not all of them have been from COVID. Some of them have, been from other sicknesses or what have you, but yet our grieving rituals have not been the same as a consequence of COVID-19. And children are caught in that, and so talk to us a little bit about how to guide children through, losses, COVID related, maybe they're not COVID related, but, a loss is a loss is a loss, and children feel every bit of that. So, talk to us a little bit about that.
Yes. So first of all, we want to recognize what grief looks like in kids. It may look a little different. We want to kind of explain things on a kid-friendly level as much as we can. I know some people may think that's kind of new school. I grew up in kind of old school where the grown-ups were somewhere talking, and as a kid, I didn't really know much about what's going on. But it's very helpful to explain on a kid-friendly level as much as you can, because just like us, kids find more comfort in knowing what's going on and in knowledge. Then you want to talk to them about the kind of feelings that they may be feeling during this time of grief. So the disappointments, the anger, the bargaining. Again, you have to explain what bargaining means on their level. The depression, the sadness, and acceptance. And so what you're doing is you're explaining them the grief cycle so that they know if those feelings come up, it's normal. You're normalizing it. Also, you want to talk to them a little bit about how you're feeling, because a lot of kids may think they can't ask, they shouldn't talk about it. Mommy and daddy's upset. If I talk about it, I'm going to upset them more. So you want to let them know that they can talk to you about it, and kind of leave that door open. And then you guys can always share stories together. You can also do some kind of ritual yourself. So you may not be able to have a funeral, but maybe you can share a story and make something, make a card, make a letter, fly a balloon, something to kind of have some kind of ritual yourself. And that can provide kind of closure and kind of lead towards acceptance as well.
Okay. Wow. That's fantastic. Well, I appreciate you spending time with us tonight. And I think this is helpful to a lot of our parents. Can you give us one big tip as we prepare to end this conversation?
Absolutely. Just be patient with yourself. You're only human. You're not perfect. It takes a lot of people to do what you're trying to do. Think about how many people are doing that job. You're the teacher, you're the lunch lady, you're also being the parent, you're also trying to work yourself. And so you have to be patient with yourself and give yourself the same grace that you would give anyone else.
All right. Well, there you have it, Ms. Shannon Ellison. Thank you so very much. And everyone, hope you're well. Look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great night.